Probably go straight in
Hey guys, Preston here. Welcome back to another video. Today I am with Jesus again, and we're going to do our week 1 preview and predictions for the NFL season.
Yes,
we're bringing this very late, but maybe some people will watch it the morning of. So it's technically Sunday already. So
yes, sir.
So obviously we didn't talk about the Thursday game, Bills-Rams. I technically, this won't matter to anyone who's watching this, but I did think the Bills would win. So,
I thought it would be a lot closer than it actually was.
I did
think the Bills would edge them out a little bit.
It's a bit of a stinker for the first game. All right, so the only order we're going to go through is the start time, all Eastern time. So I'm not going to go by division or anything like that. It'll just be 1 o'clock games, then the 4 o'clock games, and the primetime game. Just scrolling through ESPN. I don't want to do the Steelers first, so we'll do Saints-Falcons first. This is a 1 o'clock game. The Saints are 5.5-point favorites, and ESPN's Football Power Index, which it's not the greatest, but they give the Saints a 71% chance of winning.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Saints are going to win pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Saints too, for sure. Some updates on this game through Twitter, a little bit earlier. Benefit of doing this so close to the games is we know some stuff. So it sounds like Michael Thomas and Drake London were both listed as questionable, but the reports are that they're both going to play in this game. So that's big for the Saints. I mean, it'll help the Falcons because they have no receivers, so they definitely need Drake London playing. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it's just this one seems like a pretty obvious one. On paper, the Saints are just a much better team. It'll be interesting to see if Jameis can get off to a hot start because, he's the injury and stuff. We'll see what he looks like kind of. But let's just say it'd kind of be a disaster if the Saints didn't win this game is what I'd say.
Yeah, it would be a lot similar to when the Saints beat the Packers last year. How that was a big shocker for.
So do you have a score kind of in the top of your head? Like I said, we won't track that, but if you have one.
Honestly, I'd be surprised if the Falcons get more than one touchdown, if a touchdown.
Oh, wow. Holy crap. All right, I'm not going to go that far. Actually, I don't know what the score would be, but it will. You're right, they probably won't score a lot. I'll just say I think the Saints
defense is just that good.
I think the Saints easily cover. They might even double the spread. I feel like the Saints should have win by at least 10 easily unless something bad happens. So, all right, so we both go New Orleans.
Yes,
Next game will be the 49ers and Bears, local game for us. This is the Niners are 6.5 points favorites. This is a 1 o'clock game. And
I got the 49ers winning.
Yeah, the FBI has them as 68% chance to win. I guess I should mention this is in Chicago. I didn't mention that for the Saints one. The Saints game is Mercedes-Benz is the Saints, right? I think aren't they both named Mercedes-Benz, which is a problem.
I'm not sure. I thought.
All right, it looks like the bottom team is the home team in these matchups. So that means it's the Falcons hosting because for some reason they're both Mercedes-Benz. It's very annoying because the Saints are the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
The Mercedes-Benz thing. So
So the first game's in Atlanta. Still think the Saints win. It doesn't change anything for me. Same thing with this game. It's in Chicago, but I still think the Niners win pretty easy. Is that what you think too?
Yeah.
The only thing that worries me is Trey Lance might struggle out the gate a little bit,
I just looked it up. New Orleans, Baines. It was the Mercedes-Benz. It's the Caesars Superdome.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Sponsorships.
Gotta love the Superdome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing, like I said, the only thing that worries me is Trey Lance. The Bears aren't great, but their defense is definitely better than their offense is. We should mention George Kittle is not playing this game. He's out, confirmed now, which hurts them. I mean, it does hurt them a bit offensively, but I just think this Bears offense is so bad that the Niners are going to win regardless. The spread's a little interesting at 6.5. Obviously, at effectively a touchdown favorite. I could see it being closer than people think, but I mean, I still think the Niners win it.
Yeah,
pretty comfortably.
Agreed.
Could be interesting, like you said. Jimmy, you're breaking in a quarterback against a no matter what, the Bears have a tough defense, even if they're not the best team. So
yeah,
that's what I'd say. All right, next 1:00 game, we have the Eagles and Lions. This is in Detroit. A lot of people have been talking about how the Eagles curb stomped the Lions last year, so there's a bit of a revenge factor going out. But obviously, the Eagles are like the preseason darlings. You know, they got a lot of hype attached to them right now. The Lions are they've improved. The Lions have definitely improved. I think that for sure. I don't think they're going to be a push round. We never did full-on division predictions, but I think there's a good chance they finish above the Bears at the very least, which would be immense progress. Team that finishes fourth all the time.
Yeah.
But
what's the spread on this game?
5. Philly's a 5-point favorite. So a little better than the
I
other
can see
one,
it being close, to be honest, but
Yeah.
I do think the Eagles barely beat them again.
Yeah, I think Eagles win too. 5. Only problems. 5's pretty easy to cover, right? Because it's just winning by a touchdown, basically. The only way you don't cover that is if it's a field goal.
Well,
I don't know. Let's just say it'd be a big disappointment for Philly. It could tell us a lot about them right away. But the Lions aren't a pushover, though. That's why it could be close.
I think it'll take time for the Lions offense to get rolling.
Yeah.
Like I think it might need this game and maybe the next week's
Especially
game.
with Jameson Williams isn't playing anyways, obviously starting off on IR. No injury report for the Eagles. And apparently the Lions starting center is still listed as questionable. So that could be a big thing if he doesn't play. Because that Eagles D-line isn't a joke, man.
Especially with who do they have? Jordan Davis? That guy's.
Oh, yeah, they added Davis. They already had Hargrave. And they got, the old guys are still kicking. Yeah, I think Philly. I wouldn't bet the spread on this one. I'd bet money line if you were actually betting because it seems like it could be a trap game, but I'm still leaning Philly on this one. Right. You writing your picks down, by the way?
I got them on my notes on my screen.
Yeah, I think we're identical right now. Saints, Niners, Eagles.
Yes.
All right, now we got another 1:00 game. This time CBS. It is the Patriots facing the Dolphins. Interesting spread on this one.
This might be where you disagree.
Who do you think the favorite is according to Vegas? If you had to give
Vegas will probably give it to. I'm gonna say they probably give it to the Dolphins.
Yeah,
because the Patriots typically struggle against the Dolphins, and they added Tyreek Hill.
So this is in Miami, and the Dolphins are. This is the lowest spread so far. At least the Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites to open the season.
I got the Dolphins winning. Do
you? See, I thought maybe you would lean the Pats. I don't know. This is tough for me. I don't trust.
I know the Patriots always typically struggle at the Dolphins.
Well, in the Dolphins they do, but in general, it's a team that's consistent. My fear, I've talked about it for a while now, is they royally screwed up at offensive coordinator. McDaniels left, and they did not properly replace him. They're running with 2 failed head coaches, butting heads, trying to be the offensive coordinator. And apparently Mac Jones, I will be honest, I didn't watch Patriots preseason. They didn't play the Steelers at all, so I didn't see it. But allegedly Mac didn't look that hot in camp either. But obviously, preseason can't tell you too much. But, at the very least, that offense was sluggish with the new staff is what it showed me at the very least. So I think maybe the Dolphins, because the Dolphins are a streaky team too. They had they had a good streak last season.
They started off so bad and then just got hot right at the end.
So I don't know if they're going to come out the gates firing or not. I think I might be – I'll go Dolphins too. This feels like one of the ones we've made so far, this is where I feel like I'm most likely to be wrong. But at the moment, I can't trust the Patriots offensive situation they got going on right now. It's not great. That O-line's kind of messy right now too. They got a lot of guys questionable. We'll have to see if they play or not, including Jacoby Myers and tackle Isaiah Wynn.
And the Patriots don't have the best receivers either. I can't name one. Can you?
Well, I named the one because he's listed as questionable. Jacoby Myers. I know Jacoby Myers. That's about it. They traded away the 1 first-round pick to the Bears, but he got hurt, I think, anyways. All right, another 1 p.m. game. This one might be our easiest one of the year. And that is Baltimore playing the Jets.
Oh, yeah.
In New York, Baltimore's a 6.5-point favorite. Honestly, I feel like that should be bigger. I mean, this is the Joe Flacco Jets, by the way, just to remind you.
This is Zach Wilson.
Joe Flacco's Jets are playing. Gus Edwards is out, that's for sure. Dobbins is questionable. The only problems with the Ravens is, Gus Edwards is out, and their starting left tackle, Ronnie Stanley, is out also. But Ronnie Stanley's been out for like 2 years straight now. So, and they do okay in his absence. So they'll probably be fine, honestly. And
oh my God.
You watching something right now?
No, I looked up Patriots receivers. I forgot they got Devontae Parker.
Yeah, that's right. From the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Revenge game. But anyways, the Jets have one issue too, which makes the situation even worse, is that they already lost Mekhi Becton for the season, and then they signed Dwayne Brown as his replacement, and he's on IR now too. So they're losing depth on an already bad O-line. The Ravens, as much as I hate them, they're relatively healthy right now, which hasn't been the case in a while. So they should run through the Jets. Even if they weren't healthy, they could beat the Jets, honestly. Like, the Jets have improved, don't get me wrong. But
how much did you say the spread was? Like
6.5. 6.5.
Cover that easily.
They should cover. I mean, like I said, this is Joe Flacco's Jets too, which just like seals the deal for me. I don't think they'll score many points on the Baltimore defense.
Agreed.
Then we got, continuing just down a list, no real rhyme or reason. We have the Jaguars taking on the Commanders. This is on that awful place they insist on calling a field in Washington. The Commanders are only 3-point favorites, so they think this could be a close one.
I think it could go either way. This is like the battle of the bums this week.
I mean, we know some people who claim the Jaguars would win the South, so I don't. So if they think that, they would imagine they think they'd beat the Commanders. The Commanders are an interesting team. I think, I don't know.
They're just not. For me, it depends on how the running backs do for the Commanders. Will
it's Gibson and
play good?
Yeah, hopefully. I thought he was a good back. He just didn't get a lot of reps. Obviously, they wanted Robinson to take over. In case you missed that story, he is clearly out for this game. He will not be playing. They're also down.
They're out for like half the season.
They're hoping he'll play again this year, but they don't know for sure. But then their starting safety, Cameron Curl, is also out, and apparently they also have 2 of their tight ends listed as questionable. But I think no matter what, people don't like Wentz, right? Like, he gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
But I think no matter how you slice it, he's an upgrade over Taylor Heineke and whoever else played there that I'm forgetting right now. I can't remember for life.
I mean, Fitzpatrick was there. He played, half a game?
Yeah, I don't think he played much. But yeah, it was just not – I think the Commanders will be good. Plus, Wentz – he kind of goes in waves. That was more of his problem. Was towards the end of the year he fizzled out. He was pretty good for stretches, so I feel like he can come out the gate firing. The Jaguars will be better, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it to the Commanders.
I think it depends on 2 things. It depends how well for the Commanders. It depends how well they can run the ball, and I think for the Jaguars, it's just if Trevor Lawrence plays good. I think Trevor Lawrence will play good enough. And then Robinson and Etienne are going to help a lot. Christian Kirk's upgrade at his weapons. I got the Jaguars, but I wouldn't bet on the spread.
So we have our first difference here. You're going Jacksonville. I'm going Washington. Real quick. So the spread is 3, and the money line is a plus 130 for Jacksonville. So it's 130 to 155 is pretty close for money line odds, actually.
Yeah.
I would
go either way. If I was doing a parlay, I would not include this game.
Yeah. The over/under is set at 44. So it sounds like a low-scoring kind of game of what they're thinking. I could see it, honestly. Because the Commanders are probably going to rely on their defense a little bit, for sure.
Yeah. I think the Commanders' defense is good enough to not let the Jaguars go crazy, even if they do.
The Jags spend a lot of money on weapons, but then you remember the weapons they spent all the money on were Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. So, but yeah,
upgrades, but not not worth that money.
This is our first disagreement. Mm-hmm. I don't feel great about the pick, but it's. It's one of those games where, honestly, it should be a fun one. Sometimes when you don't know and they're not like the best teams, some of the better matchups you get that week. So next up, this is a first. We got first right out the gate before I even say the matchup. The favorite is even. There's no spread. It's even is what Vegas has decided, which is almost disrespectful. The Carolina. So this is the Panthers-Browns game. The Browns and Jacoby Brissett have even line with the Panthers in Baker Mayfield starting revenge game. The ESPN FPI gives the Panthers a 61% chance of winning though, and this is in Carolina.
I got the Panthers.
Me too. Yeah, for sure. My hate to the Browns is there also, but it might come down to just Panthers run defense. Honestly, like it's gonna. I feel like for a lot of Browns matchups, it's just gonna be, can you stop the run? Because for like 11 weeks, it's all they're gonna be able to do effectively.
You got to stop Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Yeah, that's tough.
That O-line is taking a little bit of a beating. It's not as dominant. It won't be as dominant as it was last year. And I think the truth is, even with Watson, their receiver core is weak. Like Amari Cooper. That's their only guy, and he basically fell to the third guy with the Cowboys last year.
Landry. Where did Landry end up going, by the way? And it's the
Saints.
No, was it the Saints? Oh yeah.
Add that to the list of
Saints demolishing the Falcons.
Yeah, it could be a good one for him. But yeah, I got the Panthers. I think Mayfield will actually do pretty decent. He was never an awful quarterback. I think
he just
got okay. Panthers added another weapon with Laviska Shenault. I'm not sure. He's not listed on injury reports, so he should be all right. And one of the Jack Conklin, a tackle for the Browns, and his backup Chris Hubbard are both listed as questionable. We'll see what happens there. But I think either way, I have the Panthers winning this one. I don't think either team's going to have a great season, but I don't feel comfortable giving a win to a Jacoby Brissett-led team with very minimal offensive weapons outside the running backs. The only way they win is if they finish the game with 200-plus rushing yards. That's the only way I could see them winning, is if it's just like Ravens style,
But I think the Panthers D-line is good enough to stop.
Yeah, they've invested in it. Yeah, the spread's even and the money line is even at minus 110. So this is they can't pick. Vegas is like, screw it, just
Yeah, this not is another one I would avoid betting on.
Yeah, but I'm going Carolina, and you are as well. That's what it sounded like. All right, another 1:00 game. This one I feel like it should be easy. It's the Colts versus the Texans. This is in Houston, which maybe is interesting.
Changes.
The only thing to take note of is the Colts. Granted, it's yet a different quarterback, so who knows what happens, but they've had this very common trend of being absolute garbage week one. I don't remember if that was like the Jaguars' only win was against the Colts week one. It's like 2 seasons ago, I believe, and they seem to be a slow starting team, so this could be a trap game, I'd say. Obviously, Houston has improved, if not by a lot, at least a little bit they've improved. And so 7 points is a spread for Indy in this game. So I'll let you go first this time.
I got Indianapolis. I got the Colts.
Yeah. Think they cover too? 7?
7? Yeah, just because the Texans' defense isn't. Singletary is going to help, but I don't think enough.
The one big piece missing for the Colts is that Leonard is out, the linebacker.
Yeah,
he's confirmed out now. That's obviously a big piece of their defense, but it's still the Texans.
They just paid Quentin Nelson. So
if the Texans are obvious with themselves, the Texans are in contention for a top 5 pick this year in the draft. They kind of know what.
Speaking of the Texans, though, I think Davis Mills is really underrated because he's hated on by a lot of people just because he plays on the Texans.
He's going to be playing for his job this year, like no doubt. Obviously, yeah. The higher he finishes, the better the record, the better for him. Because if you're top 5, all those C.J. Strouds and Bryce Youngs are going to look real interesting.
I think if you swap Mac Jones and Davis Mills, I think people would be talking about Mac Jones being ass.
Yeah, that's possible. I'll go to Colts too. Like I said, this one is. I wouldn't be shocked if they screwed it up because, like I said, someone pointed out earlier that the Colts have this trend of blowing their first game or just playing really bad week one. So we'll have to see. But I think Matt Ryan's a nice veteran presence. Hopefully, I think people kind of written out Matt Ryan too. you know? Like, dude was good. He was always solid for the Falcons. Just the Falcons turned into a mess around him. It wasn't, like, his fault. So the weapons aren't great still. Like, he's going to have to make the receivers better around him. It's basically Pittman and the rookie Alex Pierce, second rounder. We'll see how he does. But either way, you know, you got to beat the Texans. If the Colts want to be a serious team this year, they got to win this game against the Texans. So we'll see how real they are. All right. So now that I did every other 1 o'clock game, we have to go to my team. Everyone who's here, anyone watching this later, just know I have an inherent bias. I'm a Steelers fan. We'll get to Jesus' bias later with the 4 o'clock games.
I'll let you go first for this one because it's your thing.
All right. So the Bengals are a disrespectful 7 points spread for us, that they're favored by 7 on us. They've given us 78% chance to win. And the money line is a minus 305 for the Bengals. We're at plus 240 at the moment, which isn't great.
It's not bad.
No real people out for either side, at least not officially. It seems like we'll be okay. Deontay Johnson is probably not going to be at 100%, but it sounds like he'll play at least a little bit. But either way, I'm comfortable with George Pickens taking on more of a role instantly if he needs to. And all the Bengals are going to miss some backup tight ends, basically. That's about it.
George Pickens is my pick for I don't know if Rookie Receiver of the Year is a thing, but I give Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jordan Pickens.
So I don't like doing predictions for the Steelers because I always feel like I'm like hurting the team by doing this. So I will knock on wood when I make mine. I think at the very least, I'll say this. I think, knock on wood, no matter what, I think the Steelers cover, win or lose. I think it's closer than a touchdown. This is a rivalry game. It went really bad for Pittsburgh last year, I'll be honest. Both games against the Bengals were terrible displays of football. But I think people, for some reason, forget that we're a better team this year than we were last year. Like, objectively, we are. You had Miles Jack, Levi Wallace on the defense. You have another very solid draft with guys like George Pickett coming in. The O-line didn't improve much, but you added a better center, a better guard, and the young guys get another year of playing time and development in. So they'll be slightly better, I think. Najee was a beast last year. There's no reason to assume he won't be a beast this year. We finally have a proper backup for him as well. And I still was on the train that the Bengals were a good team that just got really hot at the right time. Like, they were not – no one thought they were going to make the Super Bowl, man. It's just the truth. They got there, and then they couldn't capitalize either. Even when the Rams forgot how to play offense for half the game, they still lost. So
the game was really won in that last snap.
Yeah. The Bengals got better, but they got marginally better.
All Joe Burrow needed was one more second.
Yeah. And the O-line they had – they made O-line upgrades, but the guys they added weren't dogs. They were either really old or just okay veteran guys. So, like, it's better, but it's not elite. It's not like shut down TJ Watt elite.
They went from like a D-, C- O-line to like C+.
And this will be the healthiest the Steelers have been in a long time, obviously. The run defense, we'll see what it's like. It's been a bit in the air, but most of the season, including some of these Bengals games, our front four wasn't there. So Cam Hayward's healthy this time, obviously. We added former Bengal Larry Ogunjobi on the D-line, and he's going to want some revenge too, I believe, because they just didn't want to pay him after last season. So all this is my long-winded way of saying I said we'd at least cover, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say we win. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to knock on wood, say we get a win. We beat the Bills week 1 last year. We've switched our trends. We used to start awful and end good. And for the last couple of years, it feels like we've started good and ended bad. So I think we win this one.
I
by the way,
I totally don't disagree. I do think 7 points is 7 or 6.5.
It's 7. That's the spread.
I think that's a little disrespectful. I think this game is going to be won on a field goal ish. Field goal, maybe like a pick 6 or something. But I do think the Bengals are slightly edge you out, but I do think the Steelers are gonna start hot though.
I hope so.
They just might barely lose this game, but then starting next week.
Yeah. This is one.
Even though they didn't win the Super Bowl, they're gonna get that what's the word?
I said I'm biased. This isn't one that would surprise me if we lost, especially given that it's away, and it's pretty common to split series with your divisional opponents, and it's always most likely that you'd lose the matchup away and you'd win the one at home. Obviously, I want to be in good vibes for tomorrow, good spirits, so I'm putting the limb out, saying that we'll find a way to get it done. So that's the last 1:00 game. I'll do a quick recap. I picked the Saints over the Falcons, the Niners over the Niners over the Bears, the Eagles over the Lions, the Dolphins over the Patriots, the Ravens over the Jets, the Commanders over the Jaguars, the Panthers over the Browns, the Colts over the Texans, and the Steelers over the Bengals.
So we only disagreed on 2 of them. I got the Jags barely winning, and you got the Steelers winning.
Yep.
But
there we go.
Pretty similar.
So our record, we'll see what our record's like. All right, so now we're on to the 4:00 games.
Yep.
Your team will be the second to last 4:00 game we talk about, just based off this order. So the first 4:00 game we'll talk about is the Chiefs versus the Cardinals. This is 4:25 on CBS. It is in Arizona, and the Chiefs open as 6.5-point favorites on the spread.
I'm going to be honest. This is probably the hardest game for me to predict.
Yeah.
Because the Cardinals are known for starting off hot. So they could start off hot.
They kind of do that.
And they could, beat the Chiefs, whether it might be by, I think the Chiefs being 6.5 or 7-point favorites is crazy.
6.5, yeah.
It's
interesting. Especially because
I think the biggest thing is just that the Cardinals don't have DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. If they had DeAndre, I don't think the Chiefs would be that big favorites.
Real quick with the injury report as well. Rondale Moore is also out for this game. Zach Ertz is still listed as questionable. Newest addition, cornerback Trayvon Mullen, who they traded for from the Raiders, is also out this game. Byron Murphy's questionable. That'd be huge if he doesn't play. That could really change the game. And no one's listed for the Chiefs. The only thing with the Chiefs, of course, is they have to break in. There's preseason chemistry isn't the same as regular season chemistry, and Mahomes basically has to make new chemistry with half his receiving core.
They also lost Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah. They have the rookies on defense. I'll be interested to see if McDuffie and Karlaftis come out swinging. That will really help that team. The Chiefs' defense has actually kind of gotten underrated at this point. They were very bad for a while, but then they've slowly gotten better, and people just haven't thought about it. So
yeah, I remember his name. Lineman
for the Chiefs.
Yeah,
it's D Ford or Frank Clark. I think it's one of those. If you're talking about the guy who's been there.
Yeah, they had him playing edge for so long, even though he's a defensive tackle.
Okay, so he gets to move back in, basically.
Yeah, with Karlaftis, he can finally move back to where he actually belongs.
So, are you going the Cardinals?
Yeah, honestly, I'm rocking with the Cardinals.
All right. To be different, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I
think they're really gonna win.
Yeah, I see your points though about the Cardinals do start hot and all that. I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs are probably gonna be motivated because the way what happened basically in the offseason with their division is now that they went from the most talked about team in that division to the least talked about team in that division because they didn't do anything flashy. I mean, they lost an elite player. They didn't add anyone crazy like all the other teams in their division did. So I think they're getting slept on a little bit. This is still an Andy Reid team. You still have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And I feel like this is the next test for Mahomes, honestly. Is
Chris Jones. That's what I was thinking about.
Okay. Yeah. Because all the great quarterbacks have made their receiving core better than it was. I mean, Tom Brady did that for years. Aaron Rodgers, outside of Devontae Adams, has done that for a long time now. It's just something you kind of have to do to be one of those really good quarterbacks. So this will be a good test for Mahomes because now he's working with 4 good receivers instead of
Sky Moore is the name of the rookie receiver, right?
Yeah, Sky Moore, the rookie, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling is the core now of receivers you have. And obviously you still have Kelsey.
I wonder who's going to be I think Juju's probably going to take the wide receiver 1 spot or the
Maybe.
wideout spot for this game. And they're probably going to put Sky Moore at the slot and.
See, I haven't heard much about
Bailey
Sky.
is
I'm not even
receiver
sure
2.
where he is on the depth chart. Yeah, we'll find out though. We get to talk about it more in the post game stuff we do.
I get it, Sky Moore.
All right, so next 4:00 game is Alex's team. So the Giants are facing the Titans. The Titans are 5.5-point favorites on the spread, and this game is in Tennessee.
Okay, I have the Titans winning because it's in Tennessee.
Because Daniel Jones.
The Titans defense is just better. It's just underrated, but it's just way better. Their offenses, even though the Titans are a little inconsistent when it comes to passing, their running is just way better. Like Saquon, he's a good running back. We're great running back, but we haven't seen him in 2 years. Derrick Henry is a fucking animal. And yeah, he could be injury prone too, but I just have more faith in the Titans than the Giants.
The fact that the Giants have 2 pretty big defensive pieces who are both doubtful, and it seems like they're very, very unlikely to play, in Kayvon Thibodeau, the rookie, and Azeez Ojulari, the rookie from last season. Both would have been pivotal pieces in the front 7 of that defense who would have helped stop a guy like Derrick Henry. So, it seems even more unlikely now. The Titans' only thing that worries me is their corners, but it pairs well with the fact that the Giants' receiving core is kind of a joke. So, the bad corners doesn't hurt much when these receivers are jokes, man. Like, Kenny Golladay, I don't know. It's like bro gave up, man. I don't know what's going on. Even
he got the bag and said, you know what?
There's a lot of people who went to camp and stuff. They're acting like they're saying dude doesn't even try half the time, it feels like. So, let's just say the Giants are trying to get better, and I like what they did in the offseason in terms of who they drafted and their new coach. But one of your top 6 guys is already out for this game, if not more than that. So he's not even a factor this time around. So I think the Giants might be a team. They might get better as the season goes, but week 1 out the gate with a new coaching staff and missing 2 big pieces on defense going against Derrick Henry and the boys, I think the Titans win this game. Although, if I'm being honest, I'm not real high on the Titans this season either, man. That O-line's pretty bad. The corners suck. Derrick Henry's only getting older. The only reason I'm picking them is because it's the Giants. I don't think I'll pick the Titans a lot this season, honestly. So
yeah,
I'm not even sure. 5.5. I feel like they could cover, but I'm not sure. I wouldn't bet them to cover them. I feel like this could be a low-scoring one, honestly. Just like Titans hold a lot of possession and get 1 or 2 rushing touchdowns. 44 again.
Yeah, I'd go under.
That's pretty low.
Both teams like to run. You don't score.
Yeah, I feel like the Titans will just get a lot of possession by running it with Henry the whole time, and then get 1 or 2 of those in the end zone and win that way. So that's another one we're in agreement on. Tennessee. All right, next 4:00 game. Here we go. Now we get your inherent bias. You'll like the line, though, unlike my teams. So the Packers play the Vikings at 4:25 Eastern. This game is in Minnesota, and the spread is even. It's even, is what Vegas has decided. Same with the money line. It's all even. So
sucks because I can't bet on it. Well, I can, but it's just not worth it.
It seems like more people are voting or betting on the Packers, but not by much. It's like 51%. The 49. So it's pretty even for a lot of people, apparently. Real quick, injury-wise, Allen Lazard is listed as doubtful, so an already kind of thin Packers receiving room might be missing one of its more trusted guys. It seems like both of the linemen that were questionable are going to play, though, so that's huge for the Packers because obviously being down 2 starters would have been a disaster. And then for the Vikings, I don't know if you've paid much attention or if you know if they'd play or not yet, but Lewis Senior, rookie safety, is questionable, and then just some depth guys are also questionable. So I'll let you do do your spiel about your team. How do you feel about this game?
This is I wasn't biased. This would probably be the second hardest, if not the hardest one to predict this week because both teams always just do good, at home, away. it just switches every year. Who wins at home? Who wins away? There's no like one dominant. Like the record of the Vikings and Packers at home versus away is like almost even. They're like it's just there's no real advantage. I mean, it is Lambeau, but it's not that cold yet, and Minnesota's used to playing in the cold. The only thing that's
this game's in Minnesota too, though. So.
It is? Yeah. Oh shit!
Yeah,
I must have read it wrong.
Right.
Then Vikings easily.
U.S. Bank is yours. So you're going Vikings?
Yeah, it's just
it would have been better if you
just on the receiver questions at the Packers.
The Packers.
Plus, the run game isn't typically the best against our D line.
Both their tackles are the ones coming back from the injuries too, and they didn't do pretty much anything at camp, so they might be rusty coming out the gate. A name I forgot to mention, a kind of fun thing is you guys have Zadarius Smith now, who was a Packer last year, and he sounds very motivated to hurt them. So we'll see if he can do that.
Yeah, he said he wanted to sack him at least twice this year, so that's maybe
this game's tough for me. I won't lie. There's stuff from both sides that kind of give me pause. The Vikings, you're breaking in a coaching staff. There can always be some kind of growing pains with that, especially early on in the season. Normally, with a new coaching staff, you kind of get better as it goes on. Although, obviously, that's what you hope for any team, is that they get better as the season goes on. The Packers got stuff to work out. Like we said, one of their best receivers is pretty much –
the defense is pretty consistent. That's the thing that's
confirmed to be out. The defense is good, and they spent even more draft capital again this offseason on it, so it can be even better. It seems like Justin Jefferson doesn't really have a problem against the Packers defense, though. Like
he does good against Jair.
Jair doesn't off him down. We talked about this during the Thursday game, but Jair's kind of overrated, I think, if you ask me. Yeah, but either way,
good. But he gets against those like wide receiver ones up there. He does like okay against them. Like he doesn't get toasted. He's not like Jalen Ramsey on primetime, but he's.
I think that hurts me gives me pause is that the Packers have just been since Aaron Rodgers. Basically, they've been pretty dominant inside their division. If we're being honest, it's a little back and forth. But this is probably the weakest they've been, at least offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Not just to be nice to you. I guess I'll mix it up. I'll put my faith in the Vikings this time. Kirk better not disappoint. It's not quite a primetime game, but it's pretty close. It's closer at 4 o'clock, so let's hope he doesn't do his primetime special and play like garbage.
He beat you in primetime. He beat you in primetime last year.
No, don't talk about that. Yeah. So drop pass in the end.
But yeah, the thing that gives me the most hope about this is honestly on Kevin O'Connell. Because did you see the interview that Kevin O'Connell literally basically did everything on the Rams? Like, he drew up all the plays. He gave them all the plays. He told them what to pick. And McVay was basically just like the final word. And people think that's why they did so bad against the Bills because, he's gone now. Now he has to do the job.
Even outside of that, I heard that Kirk Cousins and Zimmer's relationship was basically untenable. And it was just hurting Zimmer. Just his presence was hurting the offense, not even just the play calling around the team. Just his presence. He outstayed his welcome, is what it seemed like. They kept him around too long. It's a good reset. We'll see if they come out the gate swinging.
Also,
tough to pick against Rodgers, but a
lot of our rookies, like Lewis Cine, he didn't do the best in the preseason, but I think it's mostly because of discipline.
And he's
he has to learn to wait. And I think this gives him a good chance to learn from the side, see how different it is, how the noise is even way different now. But, another rookie that I do believe in a lot is Akeem Evans, the cornerback. I think he did really good in preseason, and I believe in the kid. I only call him a kid because he's barely younger than me.
Shout out to the Tulsa boy, man.
I didn't even know he's from Tulsa, to be honest with you.
He played for Tulsa, and then he hit the portal. It was between Notre Dame and Missouri, so he was one I knew about because I was like, come on, Notre Dame, it'd be sick. And he chose Missouri over us, which was, it was a mistake, but it's fine. He did well, and he got drafted, and it sounds like he's doing well now.
Speaking of Notre Dame, what happened today, Preston?
Don't worry about it. Nothing good.
My team only lost by 1 point to the number one team
in the country. That game was
Nah, I just like saying the hook 'em horns.
Thank the refs for that, bro. Tulsa won today too, though.
Let's go. Yeah, but
they almost blew it. They tried their hardest to blow it too.
I think this is going to be really close. So what's the spread?
This was even. Even money line, even spread. Vikings are getting picked.
I wouldn't be surprised if this goes into OT. I hope. Actually, I don't hope it does, but I hope I get out tomorrow in time to see the game, man.
Oh, dude, yeah,
we're tomorrow but today I got out at 6:30, so hey, man. Might be able
it starts at 4:25. I'll probably get done at maybe 8 because there's always a little bit of time in between the 4:00 games and the primetime game at 8:30.
We got T-Pain at halftime. We'll make sure he stalls.
All right, so the last 4:00 game before we go to the Sunday night game, and we'll talk about the Monday one too since we're here. Might as well. That one's incredibly obvious, but we'll talk about it anyway. Here's another maybe tough one. I feel like we're going to pick the same team here, actually, so maybe not tough for us. But in terms of the line and general consensus, this could be a tough one. And that is the Las Vegas Raiders are traveling to L.A. to face the Chargers at 4:25 Eastern. The Chargers open as 3.5-point favorites on the spread. And money line are minus 190 to the Raiders plus 158. So that's actually the money line's pretty even and the spread's pretty close as well. So
the Raiders are minus 190?
No, the Raiders are plus 158. The Chargers are minus 190.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of injuries, J.C. Jackson is listed as doubtful, so that'll be a big blow for the Chargers. Yeah. Especially because you would imagine he'd be the one tasked with shutting down Devontae Adams. And Donald Parham, a backup tight end, is also doubtful, and Drew Tranquill's questionable. So we'll see about that. But the JC one's actually kind of a big deal.
Big one.
But does it change your pick? That's what I'm wondering. Because I was guessing we'd both go Chargers, but I'll be interested to see.
I went with the Chargers, but I do think it's going to be really close.
Especially with
the only thing, even though the Raiders typically get a pretty big home crowd when they're in LA, I do think the
Chargers have no fans.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are just going to barely beat them because who's their new coach for the Raiders? Because they didn't keep the guy that got them to the playoffs.
Josh McDaniels.
Even though the players wanted that other guy. I can't remember his name.
I mentioned it earlier. The Patriots' offensive coordinator mess is because Josh McDaniels left to become the Raiders head coach.
Yeah.
It was an interesting one, too, considering his track record of head coach is not good. He's failed a couple times in the past. Obviously, it's a new era.
I said Indy, and what was the other place? Or
Denver.
I believe he failed at Denver. He was the one that was going to go to Indy, right? But then went to
for like 2 seconds, and then no. So I think you legit coach at Denver, and then there was a time like 2 or 3 years ago, I believe, where he was basically like named a head coach, and then he took it back and just kept coordinating for the Patriots. He didn't even go to a different head coaching job. He just came back to the Pats. His father, Bill Belichick. Belichick disciples don't normally do well as head coaches, but we'll see. I mean, it's a little different this time because it's finally one who's offensive-minded, not defensive-minded.
Yeah, I think the Raiders are just going to struggle early in the season. But
they have no corners. No corners. Yeah. That's what worries me. And then they traded away Mullen, which makes it even worse.
I think they're going to struggle in their division the most, but I think they're going to dominate outside of the division. I think that's how the season's going to go. I only see them beating the Chargers away and maybe the I forget the other team. Broncos.
You mean Chargers that beat the Chargers while they're at home?
Yeah, that's what I meant about it.
Yeah, because this game's in LA. I'm going Chargers too. I've been on the anti-Raiders hype train for a minute now. I don't trust Josh McDaniels yet. The offense will be fine. Like adding Adams is nice. That offensive line is still trash, and it didn't really get better.
Leatherwood already cut.
It didn't get better. The defense, you add Chandler Jones, and you act like that's going to change everything. No, dude had half his sacks in one game last year. He had 5 sacks in 16 games because he had one game with 5. So 16.
The only good thing about that is that him The Chandler Jones and
Max Crosby
are just good at getting pressures. That's the
They'll
only
help
thing.
because Chandler. It's nice to have a duo, but that Chargers O-line is legit now. They put a lot of capital into making it one of the best O-lines in the league now. Not to mention with how bad the Raiders O-line is, they're going against Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. So the Chargers have their own duo on the D-line.
Khalil Mack is going to have his Von Miller at the Rams year.
And like I mentioned, the Chargers they're pretty deep. You got Mike Williams and Keenan Allen against no names at corner.
And Austin Eckler.
They're going against like Nate Hobbs. Yeah, Eckler's good too. But I'm talking specifically just the passing game. These corners, the Raiders corners aren't anything to write home about, and you're going against one of the better passing attacks in the league. And then when you're on offense, sure, J.C. Jackson's out. That helps. The Chargers corners won't be as good as they were. You can maybe eat there. But if it turns into a shootout, I just don't think you're going to outlast the Chargers, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I still think even defensively, the Chargers are probably a little deeper. It's the corners that's what hurts the most, I think, for the Raiders is the corners in the O-line because it's going to be tough. I like Josh Jacobs, but he hasn't really been elite or anything like that. I mean, they didn't even pick up his fifth-year option, so I don't even think they believe in him that much anymore. And I think Bosa could eat today. And I'm going Chargers. I think they cover 3.5 too. I think they win by more than a field goal.
Damn, Max! I just looked up his contract because I was interested on Alex Leatherwood because he got covered. That means he was
a first-round pick,
right? He didn't get much for a first-round pick. I don't know if it's just because he's an O-lineman, but
I think they get signing bonuses. Maybe they don't. It's not reported or something.
Maybe because like his contract is only 3 years, $5.9 million. That's
unless he was a second. No, maybe he was a first. Yeah, that could have been what's left too, because he was a 21. He was 2021 first-round pick. But either way, I mean, even with him, that O-line wasn't good. So I think it could be I think it could be a wake-up call for Raiders fans. You know, a great, very passionate fan base, but I think they might be overhyping their team a little bit.
A little delusional. It's okay.
Which we're all guilty of. I did the same thing 10 minutes ago. So
I might be doing it today, man.
I mean, heck, even I agreed with you though. We didn't agree on mine. So I mean, Vikings are more likely to beat the Packers than Steelers are to beat the Bengals. Probably.
Yeah, this game it's really just going to be a test for the Packers. Who's going to be receiver one? Which I think is going to end up being probably Randall Cobb. I don't think Allen Lazard is good enough.
Yeah, we'll see. It's basically Cobb, Romeo Doubs, who was like a 5th-round pick from Nevada, the 2nd-round pick,
Watkins, right?
Christian Watson, who had a quiet. He didn't garner any hype this preseason, so who knows how he's doing. He might need time, especially since he was an FCS product. You know, he might need some time to grow. They could have had Pickens, by the way. So, you know, thanks, Green Bay.
Yeah, maybe they saw he was standing next to that TV and said, "Yeah, we don't need it."
So we both went with the Chargers on that one.
Yep.
Do you think it's going to be close, or are you more in line with me where it might not be that close?
I don't think it's going to be that close. I do think the Chargers are just going to score more.
Here we go. So outside of even, I think this next game has the smallest spread I've seen. We're going on the over of the spread would actually be winning by a field goal. So this is Cowboys-Bucks primetime Sunday Night Football in Dallas. Tampa opens 2.5-point favorites on the spread. And if you're interested in the money line, they're minus 145. The Bucks are. So pretty close. It's pretty close. So what do you think about this game? One sec before you do, I'll give the injury report in case this changes anything. Michael Gallup is out, so the Cowboys are down one of their receivers. They're down.
I don't know why they chose to keep Gallup over Amari Cooper. That to me was insane.
He got the ball more. Dak threw it to Gallup more. Is there anything I could think of? And then Godwin and Cage are questionable, but I'm pretty sure we've been hearing that Godwin is going to play. Not too sure about Cage, but Cage is like the 3rd, 4th guy anyways, and you added Julio. So
Julio could just pick up that slot position.
And so that's the injury report. Nothing crazy, honestly. So now I'll let you go first. Who do you think?
I think the Bucks win it barely, but I got the Bucks only because I don't like the Cowboys and I don't have faith in them.
Yeah, this is the problem for me. Is I don't think either O-line is that great at the moment. The Bucs O-line's kind of a nightmare in terms of all the injuries they sustained. But the Cowboys pass rush is like, it's good, but it's not. It's basically Parsons, and that's it.
That's if Micah goes in, if he plays like an actual linebacker.
Yeah. Well, that's how you knew how good their D-line was last year. It's because Micah Parsons was when getting all the sacks because no one up front was getting the job done, so they had to keep playing him as an edge guy. I mean, you're down Gallup too, so it's basically just CeeDee Lamb at this point.
I think it comes down to the defenses, and I just have more faith in the Bucs defense.
Or even just a battle of quarterbacks. Brady's very experienced, although he hasn't really looked like himself in terms of, seems like he's going through some crap personally. But that could either motivate you to have a baller performance or he'd kill you to be awful. So we'll see if he's like Brett Favre when his dad died level of performance, or like just a distracted player having an awful game kind of level. But yeah, I also have a strong dislike for the Cowboys, so there's anti-Cowboys bias here. But I think the Eagles are more likely to win the East than the Cowboys are. I think the Cowboys were one of the teams that did not get better this offseason. Normally teams even get like a little better each offseason. I think they actively got worse. Like just factually they got worse. They lost O-linemen. They've had some injuries there as well. They obviously got rid of Amari Cooper for next to nothing. That trade looks worse and worse for him, by the way, because you keep seeing all these freaking Jalen Reagor got more back. The Eagles got more back for Reagor than the Cowboys got for Cooper. Obviously, the contracts are a little different, but still, it's sad to look at.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Reagor's on the Vikings. Oh, yeah, easily win 2 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, he's going to.
I don't know if he'll play, to be honest.
You get good money if Reagor scores, if you bet him to score, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I'll say this. I think Trayvon Diggs is going to get 1 pick. It might be a pick 6, it might not. But I think he's going to let Mike Evans get 2 touchdowns and over 150 yards.
I think I'm going to have the Bucs win. This was a good matchup last year, that opening game, if you remember.
Bro, that game was crazy.
So, of course, they had to give Dallas a Sunday night game again because, it's Dallas.
I almost lost that bet, man. Oh, my God. I was pressing you. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucs, too. I'm not real confident about it, though. This is another one where it's pretty darn close. I mean, the spread's 2.5 for a reason. It's kind of I just don't know what the Bucs O-line's going to look like, and I'm not quite sure how good Brady's going to look right out the gate, just based on his general demeanor at the moment. But I still think they're a team not to be trifled with. The defense is still solid. I'm trying to think. Did they lose anyone on defense? Not really, right? Not that I could.
I know the guy that had 3 fingers. I think he's retired though because he's old.
JPP.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, and it's in Tampa. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It's in Dallas. So that could help Dallas a little bit. Is that it's in Jerry World, but I'm still gonna go with the Bucs for this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Bucs
I think the Monday night game was probably the easiest one, or second easiest one.
Oh
yeah. This comes pretty close with Ravens and Jets, but
by the way, the Bucs will be starting a rookie at left guard.
Who's on the right side, or I guess left side?
All I know is that Ali Marpet, they had a guard retire, and then center Ryan Jensen and left guard Aaron Stinney both got hurt. So Notre Dame O-lineman in his second year as a pro, Robert Hainsey, is filling in at center, and then Luke Godek is replacing Stinney at left guard. So we'll see how they do. I think it can be manageable. I like Hainsey, but that's probably Notre Dame bias. I mean, he's good though. Notre Dame produces good O-linemen, even if they don't play good currently this season, but whatever. Either way, I think they'll be fine. Obviously, the Cowboys, in terms of O-line, they're without Tyron Smith, but they have rookie first-round pick Tyler Smith starting in the place. But that is what you'd call a penalty machine. So he might actively hurt the Cowboys and get like 15 holding calls and 18 false starts. So hopefully he cleans it up for his own sake.
The most important thing too. The Cowboys have Mike McDaniels.
Oh yeah, legend. I guess what we didn't mention though is the Bucs. The Bucs don't have
Bruce Arians.
Got it. Yes, thank you. They don't have Bruce Arians anymore. It's the DC is the coach again. That's going to piss me off. I'm forgetting all the coaching names, man. Do you know? He's their current head coach. He was their defensive coordinator, and he used to be the head coach for the Jets and did okay with them, but they fired him anyways because, typical Jets, right? Like 7-9 is not good enough, and now they wish they could be that good.
I'm looking up right now. I'm forgetting his name.
Todd Bowles? Yes. Yep. I said it 2 seconds before you. Because, of course, it's like I'll make you look it up, and then I'll remember. I don't think Julio Jones is
the first good, picture I see on images is him at the Jets.
Yeah. There's 2 people watching live, apparently. So if you feel free to comment what you think of some of these games, your picks, or anything you want to talk about, or anything we forgot about in terms of injuries or something. It's like 4 a.m., so I'm kind of shocked there's anyone in this. So, but thanks. My only hope is maybe get some views before the games start today in like the morning. Anyway, final game we'll talk about. This is for Monday night. Denver is 6.5-point favorites over Seattle. This is in Seattle. Russ's come-home game, week 1, right away against his former team. If all goes well, the Broncos should beat the brakes off Seattle.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
As much as I hate the Broncos, they're definitely going to stomp Seattle. I hate the Broncos.
Yeah. So Seahawks will be without Alton Robinson, a defensive end. Artie Burns, a very bust of a corner for the Steelers in the past, is doubtful. Kenneth Walker is still questionable. He had that hernia thing that made him miss like the last 2 preseason games. So I think even if he does play, he'll be kind of rusty. I have a feeling they're going to rely on Rashad Penny this week. But they're probably going to be a run-first team, and the Broncos' defense is still very solid. So as long as they can stop Rashad Penny from like getting 5 yards of carry, they should win this game pretty easily, especially because they decided to start Geno Smith, which is just a stunning indictment on Drew Lock or the coaching staff, or both, possibly both. But I don't know. Pete Carroll, I just feel like I've lost my respect for him as a coach. Not because he did anything like mean or vicious, just because he just hasn't been as good as a coach since that Super Bowl. It feels like it's been slowly declining with him. Yeah. And if we're being honest, a lot of the rumors were that's why Russ left in the first place was because him and Pete were just
wanted a new coach
working anymore. So yeah, I got the Broncos. There's still a lot of questions with the Broncos. Obviously, like that offense, they're relying on Russ just to change everything. But yeah, I think they win big. Probably, I'd be my guess. They're minus 292 in the money line. Yeah. I don't know if I trust any of the over-unders I've said because for some reason I swear it's showing 44. Okay, no, they're different each time, but there's just been a lot of 44s for the over-under, which includes this game.
Well, if you think about it, 44, let's say
if the Seahawks score 0.
Each team scores 3 touchdowns, that's 21.
Yeah.
And that combined is
42.
Yeah. So
and let's be honest, I think the Seahawks will struggle. I think the Seahawks will struggle to even come close to 20. Yeah. So, this Broncos defense was good even last year, So it's like
it's just because they have an offensive-minded coach. That's like the only.
And it seemed a lot of people claim they were a quarterback away, so now we'll find out if they truly are. Well, they're also a new coaching staff too, which matters. They have an offensive-minded Nathaniel Hackett is in. Which is something we forgot to mention in the Packers-Vikings game is that the Packers are also with a new offensive coordinator. And not just the receivers being gone, but the OC is new too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'll go Broncos on that. So I guess we'll do one last recap of all of our picks. So we make sure we'll cross them off tomorrow. And hopefully on Monday, we got to do it Monday. And because I'll be gone, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Either way. So I have the Saints. Let's see if I can remember their opponents. Let's test my memory here. I got the Saints over the Falcons, the Niners over the Bears, the Eagles over the Lions, the Dolphins over the Patriots, the Ravens over the Jets, the Commies over the Jags, the Panthers over the Browns, the Colts over the Texans, the Steelers over the Bungles, the Chiefs over the Cardinals, the Titans over the Giants, the Vikings over the Packers, the Chargers over the Raiders, the Bucs over the Cowboys, and the Broncos over the Seahawks. And we were different on – you have the Jaguars beating the Commanders.
Yep.
I have it the other way. You also have the Bengals beating the Steelers. I have it the other way. You picked, I think, to be a little different, you picked the Cardinals over the Chiefs, I believe, right? And I picked Chiefs over Cardinals.
Yep.
And then I don't think there's a difference after that. So we got 3 differences. So I guess that will determine our record. One of us will be 3 better, or not always. It could be 1 or 2.
What do we do if there's a draw? Do we both get a no?
This is just to keep track of it. We'll see how good we are. See if we were reliable guessers throughout the season. Total record at the end of the year too. See, I'm gonna be watching Red Zone all week anyway. Fantasy wise for the Cardinals, though, I was gonna say it. Rondale Moore being out is good for me, man. I was gonna put that in the chat. I was like, yes. Now it truly is just Hollywood Brown.
I don't know. I have such a big dilemma at QB for me. I don't trust Rodgers this week. Murray, I don't know either. I gotta see a week, so I went with someone that I know is just gonna eat.
So you're picking the Cards to win, but you're not gonna start Kyler. Wild.
I know, that's crazy.
Wild.
It's just because I know Winston is gonna eat against the Falcons defense.
Is he though?
Yeah.
AJ Terrell's gonna pick him off 5 times.
I doubt that.
That's the one thing the Falcons have. They have one very good corner who feels disrespected by the NFL top 100 list. All right, so now I got this annoying sound behind me. So we did all the picks. We went an hour, so I guess we will wrap this up. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned. We'll try to do this every week. We'll also do a post-game recap and reactions on the Monday after the games, or maybe even late Sunday night. We'll see. Like I said, we won't be able to do it after the Monday game anyways. That's too late. So it'll be Sunday night or Monday night before the Monday Night Football game's over. Make sure you check out Big Slam Sports is the channel. You can find that all one word in YouTube. It's been on this ticker the whole time, so you'll see that as well. He will post stuff at some point, possibly even the post game. We haven't fully broken that down yet. But either way, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Anything you want to comment about how wrong we are or how right we are, feel free to. I will gladly reply back about how right I am instead of how right you are, and we'll go from there. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. This is KMA Preston signing out. See you guys.
See you.